So it is official. Gabby Petito has been ruled a homicide. Her death has been ruled a homicide. I have been following this case very closely because, for obvious reasons, it is very near and dear to my heart as someone who helps people professionally heal from the cycle of toxic relationships. I've been paying really close attention. And what I've seen happen is a lot of mistakes being made, which potentially caused Gabby to lose her life. And, you know, being someone who myself has been in toxic relationships and watching what other people go through in toxic relationships, this girl could be any of us. She could have been any of us. She could have been any of our children. She could have been any of us. And, you know, after watching, so I had not seen right away or had listened, I guess, to the video or audio of someone calling 911 to let them know what they had seen. All I had seen was the body cam footage. And on the body cam footage by itself, that in and of itself, there was red flags all over that. I mean, take away the part that her boyfriend would have left her in the middle of a desert somewhere and gone home without her. Like, that is just awful. That is something my ex used to do, to leave me places all the time. It is what a lot of us have been through, of being left somewhere. So even if there was not foul play by him, the fact that he would have left was huge red flags, like something big was going on. And then during the traffic stop, the police officers asked questions to both of them. And some of the things that Gabby said were perfectly in line with someone who's being in an abusive relationship. The fact that she was blaming herself for everything. Well, I'm really OCD. I like things done a certain way. I try to make things right, but I'm wrong all the time. She made a comment about how Laundry was telling her that she wasn't going to succeed at the whole internet thing. So those negative things that they tell us about ourselves, that we think it's not possible for us to accomplish big things, that we have these big dreams and it's not possible for us to accomplish them. He was making her feel badly about wanting to accomplish big things. And all of these things were going on, and the cop was just listening. And then when there was discovery that she had assaulted Laundry, there was no further questions from there. Because I know for myself, when I was in a situation, in a domestic violence situation, there was a few times that I lost my temper. If you've been being abused for a period of time and you're constantly being abused, whether it's verbally, whether it's emotionally, sexually, there are times where it is a completely normal behavior for the victim to then become the aggressor. It's the reactionary abuse. So when it's been building up, I mean, there was one time where my ex had actually left me on a train after we'd been out, we had drinks, we were out drinking, I'd fallen asleep on the train. And I woke up to nobody being there. And I got off the train, found where the car was. Luckily, he was still in the car. And I remember losing my temper and scratching at him, clawing at him because I was so angry. Now, if someone would have come and seen that, I would have looked like the aggressor. They wouldn't have known all of the things that he had done to me beforehand. And of course, I felt terrible about it because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just as bad as he is. I'm just as abusive. If I'm losing my temper like this, then I'm no better than he is. So that reactionary abuse actually causes us to stay longer in the toxic relationship. So the police, they heard that, and instead of finding out more questions and asking better questions, because they obviously didn't have the training in it. So I don't blame the police officers really at all. I don't. I know, though, that there's no training right now that I've heard of that is really helping people that are in domestic violence situations. Because as someone who myself called the police more than a few times because I was fearful for my safety, the police just kind of let us go. Like, oh, well, why don't you just go in separate places? And then there was no follow-up. There was no check-in to make sure that everything was okay. The police are not well qualified. They don't have the tools. They don't have the right training. They don't really know what to do when they get into that situation. And then, of course, a lot of the times, then the person who's being abused will stick up for their abuser, just like Gabby did. Gabby was sticking up. It was all her fault. It's my fault. when you're told all the time that the reason why I hit you, the reason why I'm mean to you, the reason why I am abusive to you is because of your behavior, you hear that all the time. You start to think that that's true. Well, it must be me doing something wrong. And she was showing all of those signs during the traffic stop. And then when I heard the audio that someone had actually seen him slapping her, did they not give that information to the police officers that pulled them over? Because if they would have had that information, would they have had the same questioning? Would the same things would have gone down? Like, if had they known fully what was happening, there was a disconnect there. There was a total disconnect for Gabby. She did not get the support that she could have gotten to get out. Someone saw how bad things were. Now, you can imagine if you see something or hear something out on the street, we're not easily going to just call the police unless we see something we really feel like something really wrong is going on. Most of us, right? So for this bystander to see whatever's going on, they're thinking it's bad enough. Hey, I need to call someone. This girl needs help. It would have been so much easier had the police taken Gabby away and had more in-depth conversation without her actually seeing the person that was abusive to her. And now the issue is, of course, Laundry is gone. Who knows where he is? Why wasn't he taken into custody sooner? Why did they allow him to be? Why was he not a person of interest right away? I would bet when you start looking around and start talking to other people, I would bet money that other people saw unhealthy things going on in that relationship beforehand. But people were afraid to say anything. They might have noticed something just wasn't right. They might not have been able to put their finger on exactly what it was, but they had a feeling that something wasn't right. And the fact, so she was living in Florida. Now, Gabby is actually from Long Island. So she's actually, and I was from Long Island. So this is like a hometown girl. This is any girl that's trying to go off and find herself and find adventure. She was just going off to find herself. She just was with the wrong person because she trusted someone to love her and take care of her and be a good person. And he was not that person. Sheila said, yes, but she would have covered for him. Yes, she probably would have. But the better thing, had she maybe been removed from him so she didn't have to physically see him and she knew that there was a safe space for her to go to, she might have been able to talk to maybe a professional at the police station. See, these are the things too, is that, if there was, for example, one of the times that I had to go to the police precinct to go try to get an order of protection. So I had to actually tell the stories of some of the things that were going on because I was so tired of being abused. There was that one time out of all the times that I had been there that there was actually someone who was specifically trained for domestic violence. And so he came to talk to me. He came and asked me questions. And then he set me up with a conversation with the local domestic violence hotline, who then also had an advocate for me to talk to. And they were able to tell me all of the things that normally happen in these types of domestic violence situations. So at least I felt like I wasn't so alone. This poor girl was out by herself. She was 22 years old, right? I mean, she's a kid. She's a baby. She's out there on her own with someone who's abusing her. The police come that are supposed to come and save her, and they're not giving her the right types of resources for her to even have a chance to think that she possibly can get out. There's no thinking, oh, maybe I can still make this trip without him. I can press charges if he's being abusive. Like, there's no conversations with that about her being abused at all. And they saw her being slapped. Something needs to change in this system. And I get it. I get that it's hard. My sister is a lawyer in Colorado. She calls me all the time to ask questions about certain cases that she has, like what my thoughts are, because it is so hard as someone trying to prosecute some of these people when you have the abuser themselves sticking up for the person who's abusing them. So I get it. It's hard. But if we start to train people that work in these kinds of domestic violence situations, we really train them on what will happen, on what they need to do, on what signs they need to look for to know like something really serious can possibly go down in this situation. We need to do more than just let them be. Let them decide how they're going to react to it. Maybe there needs to be a decision on removing people more easily from a situation that looks like it could possibly be unsafe without asking them permission if they think it's okay for them to be removed. Maybe there's outside sources that need to come in to help in these types of situations. So, I just wanted to jump on and give my 2 cents. I've been quiet about it, but I've been feeling this need to come and share my thoughts about this whole situation with this poor girl. And it's actually interesting. I realized yesterday that I'm actually part of a Facebook group that actually includes Gabby's dad. And I remember seeing him post a whole bunch of times in this group before anyone would have known who Gabby's dad was. And I went through, I was like, oh my gosh, I actually have known this guy. This could be anyone. One of the goals that I have in my life is to help as many people as possible stop the cycle of toxic relationships, because I understand how beat down we feel when we are in these toxic relationships. I understand how we feel like we have no voice, how we feel like maybe nobody else will love us because they do something to us psychologically where we don't believe that we matter. We don't believe that things can get better. We don't believe that we can get away and that somebody else will love us better because they do a number on our self-esteem. And that beautiful girl is now gone from this earth because she did not know that she could do better, that things could be better, that she did not need to put up with this, that there was more for her out there. And so for anyone who is watching this right now, this is what I want to say to you. Start doing what you need to do to take care of you. You don't deserve to be with anyone who talks down to you, who treats you badly. You don't deserve to be with someone who is possessive of you, who doesn't allow you to be you, who puts you down for the dreams that you have for your life, for yourself. All of us, all of you watching, all of us in this world deserve to be treated with respect, with love, with kindness, and to be with someone who's an actual partner who wants our best interest, not just their own. And I see someone said, was he a narcissist? I haven't learned enough about him to know for sure that he was. I would guess, he quite possibly could be. Narcissism is become rampant. The amount of people that are not getting mental health services is rampant. And of course, we could go along and have a whole other conversation about mental health services in the United States and how it's plainly, seriously lacking. We've got to do better. We've got to do better for ourselves. We've got to do better for our children. I've taught 6th graders. I've worked with 6th grade kids all the way to 80-something years old. So I've seen from the beginnings. I've been a crisis counselor. I've worked with clients. I've been a teacher. I've seen from that young age of how broken down some of us are. And I've seen people in their 80s that have still not been able to learn who they are and that they are deserving of it. Let's start to work on us. Let's start to get the help that we need, work with us, reach out to a domestic violence shelter, reach out to a therapist. It doesn't even matter to me who you work with. We're here for you. My priority is for you to take care of you and find people that are going to be there to support you to get away from this. We want to see you as our next success story, not someone that's on the news because they didn't leave. And for those of us who said, because there were so many times where I thought to myself, he would never really hurt me. I've got it. He would never really hurt me. He's only been verbally abusive up till now. He's only been this. He's only been that. And then he strangled me on our wedding night, and I still stayed. Because in my mind, I'm not getting bruises. It was always, well, it's not that bad because compared to blah, blah, blah. Strangling, I could have been dead. I could have not be here. And I was diminishing the fact that I'd been strangled, and not once, but twice. Reach out to someone, please. I don't care where you are in the space, whether you're still in the unhealthy relationship. I don't care if you've left. But let's get you to a place where you never have to go down that route again, where you never put you or anyone else in a situation to be worried about your safety, to be concerned about what might happen when they get angry and lose their temper, to be concerned what might happen if you walk on eggshells the wrong way and you piss them off. Because we're human and we're not going to be perfect all the time. We don't have to put ourselves to those standards. And we don't deserve to be with someone that is going to make us fearful for our safety and is going to take away and diminish the wonderful person that you are inside. So I just wanted to jump on and say that please get help. Please don't be another statistic. We're here to help you. I would love to be a part of your team, but please find someone to help you. Remember, you're way stronger than you realize. Bye.